What's good, my G's? It's your boy Snow, Ignorant Gamers in the house. How you doing? How you living? How you gaming? If you don't already know, G stands for Gamers. Welcome to the channel for the first time if you're here because of the headline. And if you are already down with the squad, you already know, hashtag IGZ up. Listen, PlayStation Classic, following the Nintendo footsteps as Sony is known to do. And I'm going to tell you already, this is kind of sort of already a fail. I'm sorry, I know I'm the PlayStation dude on this channel, but I'm a consumer first. OG listeners, y'all know that bar, right? So let's talk about the dopeness of what this is and why I do like it. First off, I've been wanting to collect these things like they fucking Pokemon. You give me a mini NES, of course I want it. I want it and I'm not gonna play it. I just want the shit to sit somewhere pretty in my house. Same thing with the Super Nintendo Classic. You damn right. And I got one of two. I have one of two. Now, if they make a Nintendo 64 one, I'm going to go for that one as well. Here we are with the PlayStation Classic. I love this bad boy. One of my, you know what I mean? Like, this is just one of the big ones for me. I come from the Nintendo, but the PlayStation was like my team. And we was going ham with this. And look at that controller. Look at that body. That's what I think of when I think of the PlayStation brand, when I think of the logo. This is the version that I hold to my heart. Now, with that said, this thing here is a little bit in my opinion. Only on specific looking things. Now, they said this thing is slightly less than half the size of the PS1, and that's dope to me. You know what I mean? I like that it got the little green light right there, the reset button. And I'm going to talk about that. It's an HDMI input, which is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Now, the back part is USB, and I kind of got a beef with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to skip on that for now. But, like, looking at this, it seems like even though we're getting the classic controller, it seems like it's USB input. Now, they did say the memory is baked on the inside, so we won't be able to put no memory cards in there. That'd be funny in itself. However, more on this USB for the controller thing later. This may actually work out to our benefit, and we'll talk about that later, right? Now, as far as the games go, wait, before I do that, right, I want to go back. They said that the power button will be the power button. The reset button might be dubbed as a suspend mode. So hopefully it's not both. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully, if it's a suspend mode, that's pretty dope. Kind of like a rest feature. And then the open button will function as a virtual disc opener. So I guess what that means is the system itself has to have a menu, right? So the open button will probably be servicing as a multifunctional button to help us load these games in that we want to play. Now, another part of this is the 5 games that are announced, and this is why it's going to get into my beef. So they're talking about 20 games, right, that are iconic PlayStation, right, games, the best from the original PlayStation console. And it's going to run different for a lot of people. The PlayStation has a lot of games. I mean, you can make a, let me see, looking at the 5 titles right here, you got Final Fantasy VII, you got Jumping Flash, you got Ridge Racer 4, you got Tekken 3, you got Wild Arms. Final Fantasy and Wild Arms belong in the same category. There is at least 20 games that are worthy to put on this console alone that are classics. The PlayStation on the low is a monster for RPG like games. Now, Ridge Racer, this isn't even the main Ridge Racer that everybody bought the system for. This came after Gran Turismo 1. I just said Gran Turismo 1, right? So there's at least 15 to 20 solid racing games. This includes rally games and Crash Team Racing. Tekken 3. Now there is a bunch of fighting games that can be listed. 20 for sure. And a Jumping Flash game. I don't know anyone that's ever played this game. I've looked it up, and the shit's kind of dope. I'm mad I missed it. So if I do end up getting this, I will check it out. But again, fuck that game until I play it. The soundtrack sounds amazing, and the controls looked amazing. I look it up. Shit sounds dope. Now the price for this is December 3rd, coming out at $100, $99.99. And yeah. Now, why did I say this is already a fail? Well, I'm just gonna go pull up this right here. It says you got 2 controllers, which is awesome, by the way. Thank you. Because I don't even think the original PlayStation came with 2 controllers. I could be wrong. I don't remember. That was such a long time ago, right? You got the HDMI cord, which hopefully they're not those taco cords from the PS4 that was messing up everybody's shit. That's a joke. And then it got that USB cord that goes through the back as well. Now, my beef with the USB cord is, at first, I was like, yo, that's fucking silly. Why don't you just give us the USB with the adapter to it? And then I said, well, cut them some slack. Maybe they made it strong enough that it could just use the TV to do what it needed to do, right? It could use, like, because most TVs now, if you got an HDMI TV, you probably have at least one USB slot that you could put it into. Personally, I don't think you should have to sacrifice that slot because, you know, if you think about the Roku's, you think about the Fire Sticks, even the Chromecast, things already occupy that slot. But let's just say for you, it does not. I don't like the fact that at the bottom it says a compatible USB AC adapter not included is required to use this console. Use an AC adapter that supports a 5-volt 1.amp USB Type A output. That, my friends, is bullshit, because that to me, and I could be wrong, that to me tells me, and I'm more than your average consumer, and I have more than an average comprehension rate, that once I get this, I now have to scramble for the fucking cord to make this shit work. You get what I'm saying? I'm always a person that's always worried about voltages and shit like that. I don't want to have to fucking deal with that. Maybe it's a charger that I already have in my house. You know, I have tons of fucking, let's see, I got 2 HTC phones. I got a Samsung S9 that does that port. I have a Kodak Extra that has that port. I have a Windows tablet from Lenovo that has that port. Maybe I should check the amp on one of my charging devices. Not that big of a deal for me. But how about for someone else? You dig? For someone else, this could be a fucking issue. I don't know. We'll see. But again, that's already a fail. That's 2 fails already, right? The other fail is the big fail, the elephant in the room. It's the controllers. Yes. And this is a half a fail. The reason why I'm saying that is they did make it USB. So it's a win if I can use that controller on my PC. That's a win, right? It's a win if I could plug my PS3 or my PS4 controller into this PlayStation and it will recognize it, right? Because there's no fucking way you guys have 20 dope ass games that doesn't require the use of that analog stick. There's no way. There's no fucking way. I'm not sure when Tekken 3 came out, and I'm not gonna look that up. When Tekken 3 came out, I'm pretty sure we had analog. I'm almost certain we had analog when Tekken 3 came out. Now, I'm not an analog fighter. I don't fight with analog sticks. I use a D-pad. This is, you know what I mean? I use a D-pad. However, I'm pretty sure the majority of my friends that I fought were using that goddamn analog stick, not me. So, I don't know. Now, if you could use the P3 and the P4 as a USB hookup inside the shit, problem solved. Everybody wins. Go home. But my other beef with this fail of an announcement is, this is your shit. Don't announce this shit with 5 games of the 20. Don't announce it without information about how this shit is actually going to work. The video they created was pretty nice. It was a nice video. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a nice video. The video is nice. I'm gonna say it again. It's a nice video. But my G, listen to me when I tell you. You announce this thing, you gotta announce it correctly the first time, the whole time. Fucking Nintendo done did 2 of these shits already and we knew what we was getting out the gate. Out the gate. So why would you come through with this? The most I learned from this video is that there's an open virtual disk and that the suspend button. That's it. That's what I learned. Else I didn't learn jack shit from this fucking video. This announcement is a fail for this product. You should have had 20 games listed on this shit, and more information probably could have came later about the USB slots, whether or not we can use our P3 controllers or our PS4 controllers, right? Preferably P4 controller, right? So the other part is going back to the games. Final Fantasy, Tekken, Ridge Racer, Jumping Flash, Wild Arms. Again, I have a lot of fucking friends, my G. I have a lot of friends. I've met a lot of people. I play with a lot of gamers. This is pre-fucking internet era. I'm talking about people who was actually in my house or in my dorm room or houses I went to, etc. And we talked about games all the time. We ain't just talk about your normal regular games. We talked about sports games. We talked about everything, right? Nobody ever. I've never seen anybody with this damn Jumping Flash game, right? So again, that's pretty good for me because I get to check that out. But what would your additional 15 games to this lineup be? I'm curious. Sidebar, I'm not going to comment about why it's 20 games. I assume that we know why. But just in case we don't. The NES and the Super NES, it was the amount of games that they can get on for a reason, right? Those games they're not that big. Right? They're not that big. When you start getting to the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn era, we're talking about anywhere between 200 to 700 megabytes. I think 750 is probably the max because that's the maximum size of data that CD can hold. But let's just say 250 just to round it out. 250 times 20 is about 5 gigs worth of games. So I'm not beefing there. I'm very curious to see what your additional 15 games could be. I can name probably about 30 games off the top of my list that would be I exclude all sports games. See, I've been around a long time. Sports games are tough to do because of licensing that have to go through a variety of group of people, plus out-of-date teams and out-of-date so much stuff. Sports games are so hard. They're so fucking hard to do. Trust me when I tell you that. That's why you don't see remasters of sports games. It just doesn't happen, okay? So, if I had to say, Ape Escape, of course, number one. Ape Escape is responsible for the DualShock 4. No matter how you look at it, right? And yeah, for someone who wants to be super lame, I know you're going to call out another system that isn't Nintendo, blah, blah, blah. Street Fighter Alpha 3. Spyro the Dragon, Tension 2, Tomb Raider, pick one or two. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, of course. Gran Turismo, pick one or two. Parappa the Rapper, Silent Hill, Twisted Metal, pick one, 2 or 3. Some of y'all gonna pick one, but I say Twisted Metal 2. Resident Evil, pick one or 2. I'm gonna say 2. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 for me. I know a bunch of my friends are gonna pick number 2. Jet fucking Moto. Cool Borders, Metal Gear Solid 3, Tekken 3 is already on the fucking list, Final Fantasy on the list, Crash, pick one, anyone, Bushido Blade, Parasite Eve, Parasite fucking Eve. Some of y'all pick 2, I say the first one. Medal of Honor, you know I'm all about the Medal of Honor, my G. Wipeout, even though I can play Wipeout on the PS. Anyway, Bloody Roar, yeah. Xenogears, hell fucking yeah. Final Fantasy Tactics, maybe. Gotta throw something in there for Ramon. Legend of Lagoon. Fuck it. Why are we talking about Legends? Legend of Legaia. Dino Crisis. Fuck Dino Crisis. Ace Combat, pick one. Need for Speed, pick one. And of course, Siphon Filter. That's just off the top of my head. While excluding sports titles. I can go about sports titles if we wanted to, but we're going to let that go for another time. So you let me know what would be the additional games you would like to see. 15, 25, 2, 3, whatever. If you like what's going on in the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a suggestion. Your boy Snow, and I'm out of here. Tell a friend to tell a friend that it's them again. Peace.